What up, people? It's your boy, Master Chudy. This time with the movie review. So the last movie review I did was on Harley Quinn, Batman and Harley Quinn, basically. An animated movie. But I wanted to do something new. I wanted to do a Star Wars thing, and I saw The Last Jedi today. I saw it today, and I'm bringing up and focusing on this Rotten Tomatoes site because I'm with the audience on this. Now it wasn't flat out horrible, but it was very disappointing. And I'm not going crazy, but it was just disappointing. It was a letdown. All this hype and warning there will be spoilers in this. There will be spoilers. So I'm going to do things on a categorical basis, pros, cons, characters, and maybe other things too. But first, it would behoove me to go into the pros of this movie. First off, the pros of this movie: cinematography, A1 cinematography. I thought it was very good. Cinematography. There was one scene in the movie where, you know, Lightspeed just destroyed Snoke's main ship. I thought that was some beautiful scenery right there. In addition, I thought the fight choreography was a lot better. It looked more engaging. It is what it is, but I thought it was very nice. And in general, it was visually pleasing. I will say that it was visually pleasing. But those are the only pros. Those are the only pros. The cons were so much, so much. We get into the first con, the characters. Now, some of them were not terrible, but they could have been better. Like, I really started liking Poe's character as he was coming along. But I think what really killed this movie, part of what killed this movie, are these new characters. Holdo. Let's start off with that new Admiral Holdo. So first off, in a blinding, to just insert her after they killed all of the original, what was remaining of the original trilogy admirals, such as Akbar, who's been in the Clone Wars, who's been in the original trilogy, only for him to go out in such a pathetic way, instituted this Holdo who is antagonistic towards Poe and says, I'm not going to tell anybody my plan because, I don't want to be predictable. But that ended up screwing over the rebellion. And so many people died because she didn't bother to have a contingency plan. Whereas Poe was like, look, people can disable the ship, and so on and so forth, and do what they got to do. It is what it is. Then we get to, oh my gosh. Then we get to Rose, the new chick who apparently likes Finn. I don't know where that came from. But she wasn't even needed. Her character wasn't needed at all. At all. Like the rebellion was no longer interesting. It was just, a bunch of people who wanted to pretend to be heroes. I didn't really identify with them. Finn wasn't bad. He could have been better, but, Finn is Finn. Now we get to our Force sensitives here. But with the First Order, I forgot. Hux was. I actually thought he was. The guy who plays Hux. I know what I get from Hux, so I wasn't necessarily disappointed with Hux. But the Force users, these people. Oh God. Luke Skywalker, the OG. Who everybody is saying because I never really got into much of the EU, not because I didn't like the EU, it's because, I relatively got into Star Wars a few years ago, and so I never really read a lot of the EU like a lot of hardcore fans, but I heard so much about Luke. Luke is this OG of the Force, Luke is this, Luke is that, but they retconned so much of his strength out of it. He didn't need to be like, destroying planets and everything like that, OG, but show yourself to be extremely powerful in the Force. They didn't do that. And because they didn't do that, the allure, the mystery of what made Luke Skywalker was lost in this movie. He was miserable. I believe that Douglas Ernst, I saw his review of the movie, said it best. Everybody from the original trilogy has either died or they're miserable. Like, Han is dead, Leia is sad all the time and kind of jaded, sarcastic. She can have like that, and Luke just hates. He now hates the Order that, gave him a purpose as a young man, that helped him save a galaxy, that allowed him to take on the ultimate evil. And, it's funny that he became all these people that said, oh, the Jedi Order were arrogant and this and that. I get it, but it was just so wrong. He was supposed to institute a new order. And it just looked like his order wasn't even anything good or solid to begin with. It looked like anything could take it down from the things that we see in the flashback. Forgive me, I once again said spoilers, but I'll definitely put it in the title. And then we get to Rey. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm convinced, like, she is a Mary Sue. She's lifting boulders. It took Luke, I don't even know, it took Luke 3 movies. 3 movies to even do that type of force thing. And in the end, it was already stated that his father, Lord Vader, was already going easy on him. And Sidious just beat him down. Even with all that training. But Rey looks like she could go in and one-shot Palpatine or Vader, which is ridiculous. She's out here, and there's nothing to explain it. Like, they're saying, oh, she's probably born of the Force, but Anakin Skywalker was born of the Force, and he couldn't do these things. He was a great warrior. He was skilled powerfully. He could enhance himself with the Force, but he wasn't like a god. They're making Rey seem to be this unbeatable Force person. Like, it's like, that's why it's so uninteresting. Like, I don't feel like anything can stop her. And then, Kylo Ren wasn't... Kylo Ren, actually, I think I appreciated Kylo Ren's parts. He was good and everything like that. And I thought that maybe he's well done. I'll give him a pass. But the main disappointment to me, was Supreme Leader Snoke. I, for one, when I went into The Force Awakens, I was hoping to see a Sith Jedi rebirth. Kind of a semi-new, taking things from the EU and reinstituting the Jedi Order, but also having a resurgence of the Sith. Have a little rule of one, have a little bit of people who want to be Sith. But no, you put in a new character, which is fine. And he was meant to be this OG dark side user, that he's stronger than both Palpatine and Vader. And you had people like, oh, here's what he's going to do. It's like, here's what he's going to do. He's this mysterious creature. Who knows where he's from? He's been around. He's seen the fall of the Empire, and he's been around when the Empire rose and everything like that. So he must have been around during the Clone Wars, before the Clone Wars, and he's been biding his time, doing everything like that. There were great fan theories about him. We were supposed to be shocked about Snoke's origin, but we didn't get Snoke's origin. We didn't get his origin at all. What we got was a man who showed very good high proficiency in the Force, which looked pretty cool, only for him to die in a very anticlimactic, premature way. And I don't care what Rian Johnson says or anybody else says. It's better for you now to keep Snoke dead and run with it, because I can't take him seriously if you decide to resurrect him. They will have to do some magical things to convince me otherwise that Snoke's death served a higher purpose, because he certainly didn't look like he was ready to die. I'm even glad that it wasn't Darth Plagueis, because that would have ruined it for me. Like, the master of Sidious was killed in an even worse way than Sidious killed him. But that's neither here nor there. Side note, I'm even going to mention Captain Phasma, because they did her dirty. That seems to be the ongoing theme in the new trilogy. They like to do Captain Phasma dirty. She was a non-factor, as always. But now I've gone through the pros and cons of characters. This is what this new trilogy suffers from. It doesn't respect the lore. You do not respect the lore. What got me into Star Wars was like this idea of lore, this mystery, the Jedi, the Sith, the politics of the old Republic and the Republic of the of the Clone Wars, and bounty hunters who were also out there. Like, say what you want about the prequels, and I'm a prequel fan, and I'm a bit biased, but I understand why people don't like the prequels, and that's why we thank Clone Wars. But the prequels in general added so much backstory, so much world building, so much lore, so much mystery to the franchise. And people could say, you know, yeah, I mean, people can talk about the script, but in general, the idea behind the prequels was that it did feel like a Star Wars movie. The men and the women were all great. They were not Mary Sue's. Anakin trained for a decade before he knew him as the Anakin to be in the Clone Wars. Mace Windu trained. Shaak Ti trained. Ayala Secura trained. Obi-Wan trained. You had Padme, who was an idealist but a strong political force to be dealt with. You had Duchess Satine from the Clone Wars and her pacifist ways being put into the political realm and also adding to Obi-Wan's character. You had Ahsoka Tano, who we all thought was this, any kid can be a Star Wars person. Oh, but she grew up to be such a compelling character. We loved her. And we still do to this day, even hoping that she returns in this season 4 of Rebels, which hopefully maybe she will. We get some closure on that. But these characters, they don't have any conflict. They don't have anything that defines them. Rey is just there to say, "Oh yeah, Rey's great." You completely ruin the lore, your mystery of it all, and I can't I don't know. The same people who are defending this movie, and I'm not saying that people who didn't like it shouldn't like it. I can see why people did like it. It's good for the average moviegoer, but for the critics saying that people are manipulating manipulating this number right here of 56%, I don't believe you. I believe that is is the score of it, because it didn't scream anything. It was eh. It was eh. I don't know what to say to that. I don't know where this franchise would go to. I don't know how it's going to operate itself, but this was a severe disappointment. Very severe. And it was nothing what we expected. It's really sad that this is the thing. It would be almost sad if this didn't make more than Justice League, where everybody despised that movie. By the way, hold on. Here's Justice League. Here's the Rotten Tomatoes score for Justice League, 40% by the critics. But the audience gave it a 79%. Which I agree with it. It was flawed. But it was generally enjoyable. But the critics give it 40%. But then we go to, what is it now? Back to The Last Jedi. Well, the critics gushed over it, but the audience didn't like it. So I don't know what to say. Other than, and knowing me, I'm probably going to watch episode 9, but this was a huge disappointment. Huge disappointment. But anyway, I'd like to know what you guys think. Am I overreacting? Am I, doing everything wrong? And should I give it another chance? I mean, personally, I don't think I can be moved. I wasn't really engaged, but, who knows? So once again, I thank y'all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notifications. Make sure you're notified. I do these reviews for you, the people, because I want to get good content out there and hear your views. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll have more videos up tomorrow.